Hey guys, how you doing? jpsarrireviews here. Hope you're having a good day. I certainly not having the best of weekends. I will tell you that. As the title says, I lost my job yesterday, and it was not in the prettiest way. This is the first time for me to ever go through this experience. I have lost jobs in the past, but never for a situation that what I found unjust. That I think it was really poor handling from the company I was working for. I was blamed for something that I didn't do, but because they want to wash their hands, they have to blame someone. And of course, I'm the one in line to do it. So that's what they did. And it's a bummer. I'm telling you, it's a bummer. Definitely, I cannot really share information in regards to the name of this company because I when I came to work for them like 7 months ago, when I started working with them, I signed a non-disclosure agreement and also non-compete agreement. So that means that I cannot work for a competitor, although I do get offers. So I still gotta go and deal with the legality of the stuff. The way they handle it, and I have to look at my options, which I do have options. Definitely, I'm not going to go without a fight. At the same time, it's disappointing, but I'm also glad that it happened. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't happy with this company. As I mentioned before, 7 months ago, I had a video here, a blog, where I shared a life update and told you what things were heading. And I was so excited. Because this company at the beginning, when they got me on board and when they offered me the position, they were like promising heaven and earth. They were promising everything. They were telling me everything's going to work out. We're going to be able to provide you. You're going to have to worry about it. You can build on top of this stuff, the foundation. So they offered me this and that. And the salary was very competitive. And they told me you're going to make this amount of, because not only I was a base salary, but also I was making commissions on top of that, which kind of doubled what I was making supposedly. That was the promise, which didn't happen. I knew because it was a startup here, I knew that it would take a couple of months for things to kind of riled up and get better. They said, well, you're going to get help. You're going to be on top of things. You're not going to be alone, because I was, the company that I was working with is attached to another company, or we were servicing another company then as a consignment technically. They say, well, you don't have to worry about making money because the consignment alone will cover all the overhead and all the expenses, and you don't have to worry about it. Then you can start building from that. So to me, it's like I come with the impression, okay, if it's already kind of set, then all I have to worry is to bring new clientele and build my portfolio, which as soon as I got here, then I realized that it was not true, that it would not be as they've said that it would be, that you would still have to, this consignment deal they have was not true, was not what it was supposed to, it was not what it was they promised to be. It was like I have to work for it as well, and then I have to bring the portfolio. So technically I have to build a portfolio from nothing, out of nothing, because the consignment thing didn't make enough to pay even for the rent of the building. So it was like, okay, so that means that I have to build a clientele, and that's what I did. They said, we're gonna have someone to help you. Nobody came to help. The person that was supposedly overseeing me, he was the manager in a different store. This guy showed up whenever he wanted to. He never came to help me. So I have to rethink, redo, communicate. And the first thing that I was doing, even before we opened the store, I was contacting clients and all the prospects, and I was just bringing clientele. And because of my, as I always been, my temperament, my character, my attitude, I'm a people's person. I started building reputation. I started bringing clients, and I started building some communication with good prospects and companies that we needed to work with, and everything was fine, making money. And I'm to a point where I was able to get my first bonus check. I only got paid a commission check once since I've been working here, and it was not even that great of a commission check, because after they say we got to take this and that and this and that, so it was like, okay, so we're taking out of the profit part. It's not like what you promised initially, so now you're taking it out of the margins. That's what it was. And then because we were advancing every month and growing, and said, well, we're going to increase it. So every month it was like increasing the numbers. Like we add another, you have to pass this threshold so you can get a bonus, and then you increase it for another amount. So to be honest with you, I was not making any commission. I only got paid commission once. and I never got the help. And a person came to help me that was out because of COVID most of the time, or because he had sick, or because he had some legal problems or whatever. So I didn't have nobody to help me until ultimately I couldn't just keep him. So I have to let the person go. And they kept me another 2 months without help. I'm traveling going back and forth to different locations. I'm going to the headquarters, all of that. Companies supposedly cover for the expenses. But you're doing all of that. And I'm overworking, killing myself, doing all these things. And to be honest with you, like I mentioned, like I had before, I had health problems that made me go to Mexico last year. I got so stressful that I've been dealing with the same problems that I had before. Not at the same level, but getting closer. I've been dealing with a lot of pain. Technically, it's tummy pain because I've been dealing with a lot of problems with my tummy, with a lot of things that I cannot eat this, I cannot eat that. It's going back to that. The level of stress has put me in a place where I also had high blood pressure. So all of those things had really put me in a place where it's been difficult. There are days that I couldn't go to, I went to work no matter what. I went to work every single day because nobody was there and I needed to be there because I didn't have any help and nobody came to help me from other stores either. So I'm there covering the hours, working 6 days a week, full schedules, and, like covering the store, covering all these things, taking care of the shipments, all that kind of stuff by myself. And, and getting sick, in pain. I told them I'm in pain. Actually, I have scheduled by the end of this month. I have scheduled, and I don't know if I'm going to go because now, of course, it's going to cost money. I don't have that money now. Maybe I have, some coverage, but that's about it. But, you're talking about like I'm scheduled to do, in this case, a colonoscopy. And because the doctor says we need to do this, colonoscopy and an endoscopy. So it's not pleasant. I never had those before. But they're going to do it because that's the only way to determine what is causing all the problems that I've been dealing with for a long time. So I already scheduled the whole thing. Finally, they got somebody to help me. Somebody that I interviewed, because it was a mess for 2 months, 3 months, almost 3 months, nobody to help. Finally, they got somebody. They interviewed. I wasn't convinced about this person. I told them from the get-go, I don't think this person is qualified to do this. They still brought him in. They gave him a quick training because they don't even train you right. They don't have a system. They don't have protocols of any kind. There's no training system. You don't watch any videos because we handle some materials that are very, we handle things, we have this shop, but in this case, the sales floor, the showroom, but also we handle materials that are really rare and expensive, but at the same time, dangerous to handle. And it's a very dangerous situation. So you have to work in the warehouse. You have to move heavy equipment, all of that. So the guy wasn't trained for that. My supervisor came and kind of gave him a quick rundown, but there was no videos. And I told him this is not going to work out. But they said, well, yeah, I think he's qualified to get the stuff done. That's what I was told. So the things are moving this stuff around. I told him this is what you got to do. We had an accident. We never had an accident. I've been working with other people that come from other stores and we were able to move all this stuff around without a problem. But this guy, second day, gets hurt. Thankfully, it was not a big problem in the sense of like a real hurt. Pain is pain. He didn't dislocate anything, but he hurt his, in this case, his wrist. It was just, sprung his, in this case, his wrist. So, it's a little bit of pain. He's going to be out for a couple of days. That's about it. But because they got so scared about the whole situation and because the way it was handled, because they know they messed up and the way they did it, and they demanded me, actually that day they told me we need to move all these materials here because there's more materials coming in, so you have to do it with him. So I did what I was told to do, but now they say, well, it's your responsibility because you're the manager of the store. So, and I think there was already a grievance they have with the person that was above me because I was complaining to him about things that were not being doing in the store and the things that I was not happy about the process. So I feel that he find a way just to, in this case, get rid of me because in some ways I also noticed a sense of jealousy at some points because a lot of the clients that we were building here, relationships we were building here was because of me, not because of him. But he likes to take kind of like he wants to say to the owner of the company, oh, it's because of me, which is not the case because this portfolio is my portfolio, not his. So ultimately, the thing is this, they let me go. Well, they told me that they found fault, although I never had problems. This is the first time. But I live in at will state, at will employment state. So technically they can let you go for any reason. So it is just the sadness of living in the South, and in many parts of the country, in the United States, for those who aren't familiar with that. So now I'm out, and they come on Friday to tell me that, which the accident happened a couple of days ago. And I did what I needed to do. I sent him to the ER, make sure he was okay. I cover him. I did a lot of things. I'm calling, there's no protocol in place. I'm calling corporate office. Nobody answers the phone. I call my boss. He never answers the phone. Nobody answers the phone to do anything. They told me even he needed money for medication to pay the prescription, have the company credit card. So I said, let me pay for that. I called my boss. Finally, he called me back. And he told me, well, don't spend that money. You need to get approval from corporate. So I called corporate. They never pick up the phone. They never pick the phone. And the guy's ringing my phone until I had to say, you have to call corporate just for this. I'm not the one avoiding the situation. I'm the one trying to help, and with the whole situation that happens, and when ultimately they call me at 8 a.m. or 7 p.m. That night, was Thursday night, to tell me, oh, you need to go and meet this guy because you got to pay for his medication, which he lives like 35 minutes, 40 minutes away from where I live. And I said, okay, I'll meet him there. He was nice. I had no problem with him. I wish him the best. He even called me after he heard the news. He called me. He's making sure everything was fine. And he even said, you know what? I feel bad for it because I know it wasn't your fault, but the company is afraid of everything. So the thing is this, to make things short, it happens. I'm gone. Now I don't have a job, and I'm really dissatisfied. At the same time, I wasn't happy with the company. I wasn't happy because the way they were handling every single aspect of everything. There was a high level of micromanagement. Even my boss, or who is my boss supposedly, is not as qualified as I am. He doesn't have the same experience that I have in business, and we have some confrontations because of that sometimes. The way he wanted to handle things, the way they want to handle some clients, which I told him that was not the way to do it. Because I understand business in a way, but this guy has been doing this for working. I think since he left high school or whatever. He's been working in the same type of field. I come from the outside. It's 7 months that I've been in this field, but in this 7 months I was able to build something and get knowledgeable in this industry because of my experience. Like many of you know, I left my job 3 years ago. I was watching my video when I decided to do YouTube full time. I was working in that time with a company that sold hearing aids. It was a startup too. I started there as a sales agent. I was successful doing that. I stayed with the company even through a hostile takeover. The different owners of the company, because they got into some type of thing, whatever. So I stayed within the constant changes of management. I stayed there. I was promoted. I went when they opened a collections agency within the company to collect all the monies and stuff, because of my prior experience in finances and the collections and and lending, all of that. I went to do that. I was working with them. I was being very successful there as well. And I was already solving problems because of my prior experience in the sales department, knowing the product. I was also understanding that a lot of people that were not paying us was because there were a lot of problems and faultiness in the materials or in the equipment. So I was able to solve problems by directing them to the different channels and be able to solve the problems for people to start paying us. So because of that, they offered me a position in customer service. I was in customer service, handling the most difficult cases they have. I was dealing with all that. So through all this, I was making a lot of money there, but I wasn't happy and satisfied with my life, as many of you know, and I mentioned it over 3 years ago. And I wanted to do what I wanted to do with this channel. Like I know now, November this year is going to be 10 years since my first video in this channel. 10 years. And I wanted to do something what I wanted. It was my wife's idea. Said, why don't you go and try for a year, do it on your own? And I said, you're what? I took it. My wife gave me the opportunity. So the first year, 3 years ago, when I decided to quit in January 2019, and I went to do the YouTube channel, no support, not knowing exactly what to do. I just wanted to produce content. I was not really knowledgeable how to handle the situation or how to do this and how to do that. But it was a great adventure. I put all my money, the money that, even my savings, my retirement, all of that, I put it into surviving for a year, which was a gamble. But I'm so grateful that my wife gave me the opportunity to do it. So it was a year making no money on YouTube, experimenting, doing this, whether it was for gaming. So my channel was a bunch of things, whether it was a podcast, all of that all together into one video, into one channel. It was not that fun to do because of all of that. But because I didn't know what to do. I'm experimenting. And to realize that there are things, I created different channels, like after a year, they say, well, everything is not working out. By the second year, says I'm going back to work, and that's what the pandemic hit, and and the company wanted to go back to the company that I left. They told me that I could always go back, but at that moment, the company was going through another hostile takeover, the second one. Ultimately, the company decided to go bankrupt, because of a lot of things went wrong. So I couldn't go back to that company. So that means, well, I got to stick around. The pandemic's at the first stage, 2020. So let's see how things go. Let's keep doing this. And by that moment, I already have a better idea. And I was making some money here and there on YouTube, but not much, because you don't make any money really on YouTube, but the volume of my videos, I have more than 1,000 videos already. So it's like, okay, so all that adds up, but you don't make money out of it. You might make maybe $100 a month, maybe sometimes. That's it, So I said, let's just try it out. I did a couple things, part-time things in the meantime to sustain while I'm doing my vision, but didn't work out. The pandemic was hitting hard a lot of places, and it wasn't like you could work. So I got really sick again because, of course, the stress. That's why I ended up in Mexico. And then when I came back after 3 months and things were good, I said, I'm going looking for a job. That's where I found this. The first job that really gave me an offer that I said, okay, there were 2 jobs in this, and I took this one where to be honest, I should have taken the other one. But this one felt more comfortable to me because of what they showed me and because they were eager to do this and that, which in the end wasn't the truth. Now, to make things short, now going back to this, now I'm in a place where I don't know what the future is going to bring. I don't know how things are going to pan out. I don't know how we're going to manage things. I wasn't happy with the job. I even told my wife the other day, I was telling her, I don't think this job is for me. I think I need to start looking. And I was already thinking of looking. But at the same time, like my wife says, I've never been the type of person that quits. I'm not a quitter. So because I'm not a quitter, I will go head on and to finish until the last moment, until I have my last drop of blood. I'm going to do it. So it's not like I say I'm going to look for jobs. I'm not looking, really. I'm just sticking with what I have. So technically, this is pushing me now to really look, because now I have to. Now I have bills to pay. I have this car that we bought just recently, too. Brand new car, 2022, mini SUV, which we needed. My old car was dead, ready to, it was dead. It was ready to die. It died to own me, and I couldn't put my money on it. So it says, we need this. As a new car payment, of course, the mortgage and all these bills and all that. And, I'm done with my savings because I couldn't save. And technically, this 7 months that I worked, it was to recover financially, to get on track on a lot of things I needed to be on track, medical bills, all of that we still have. And now, of course, my concern is how things going to be, paying debts and stuff like that accrued also during the time that I was out, credit card and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm in a place where I don't know, guys. And the reason why I wanted to share this, I know God is in control. I know that. I prayed this morning with my wife. I felt so disappointed about this job. I felt so betrayed at the same time because the way they handle things. There's proof I didn't do what they say they do, but I'm gonna go through all the legality of it at some point if I want to go through it at the same time, because this is a rabbit hole that sometimes it's just waste of time. I know that God pays people their actions. I have nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be ashamed of. I have done everything I'm supposed to do, and I did everything at that job. What you see is what you get, always been, even in this channel. Sometimes, that could be a bad thing. I share my feelings, I share my heart. But at the same time, I believe in honesty and being forthcoming with people. And I've always been, I'm nothing to hide, nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know what the future brings. And to be honest with you, I could tell you like, I love to do this channel, but at the same time, this channel doesn't produce anything for me financially. I don't do anything. I love to do these videos. I love them to death. If I could do this for a living, I would do it. But to be honest, nobody supports the channel in the sense that, I don't get people becoming patrons, and the patron option has always been there, but nobody wants to be a patron. Everybody wants to watch the videos and, I'm okay. I understand, So, sponsors, I don't get, people don't call or anymore, or they don't say anything, or they sponsor this other channel but they don't sponsor me, and maybe it's because I don't have. At the end of the day, is people want to get out of you something. They want something out of you. That's all they want, and they're gonna go for those channels that are more successful, even though their content is not the best either, but because they have more viewers, they're gonna do it. And the sad part is that a lot of the stuff that you see on YouTube that has been doing, the bigger channels do, stuff that I started doing 10 years ago with other channels as well. So it's sad when you see that the way has moved and technically you have been left behind, and you produce your videos with all your heart, but nobody's really watching. Just the faithful friends that always come to my comments, and I love to come to respond to your comments. And sorry, sometimes I didn't do it as fast. With this job that I had, I couldn't get a chance to do much stuff. But maybe now, you never know. Maybe the next job could be better. Now I'm in a place where, to be honest with you, all I can do is say, Lord, thank you. Maybe that this is the best thing that happened to me. Maybe now my health came back on track. Maybe that was causing all this stress and this pain that I was experiencing, that I'm still experiencing every day. I still take medication for a lot of things, and I'm just like, maybe this is it. Maybe this was for good, and to be honest with you, I believe in the end, God always does things for good. And, like some people say here, I always put God first, and this video already extended itself. It's long, but I always put God first. I do believe that in the end, He is in control. He is our defender. He knows He is the right judge. He always comes to our defense, and and He knows my heart. He knows how much I care about people, how much I care about the people that I work with, and I'm not the type of person that you what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. I'm always gonna be there for you, and I'm always gonna be lend you a hand, even when you pay me back. Not in the best of ways. Just the way I am. That's the way God built me to be, and I believe that that's what it should be. My friends, thanks for listening. Thank you for sticking with me till the end of the video. I will say again, God bless you. In the end, God is in control, and He cares. I know He cares for what I'm going through, and He cares about you. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.